Dear friends, welcome to this course on Paramahansa Yogananda's teachings on healing. It is a great joy to be together now, and in these 3 weeks, 3 Tuesdays, very auspicious Hanuman days, just to spread light against all fake thoughts of darkness. And truly welcome, and let's pray to be receptive to the rays of light, the rays of hope, rays of new understandings, new creations within us, around us, that Paramahansa Yogananda wants to bless us with. In fact, the gift that he gave us through the legacy of his healing corpus of teachings is the hope. The hope that it is possible to come out of whatever state that has disturbed us, within us, around us, in our mind, in our heart, in our body. It is possible to wrap out that veil of darkness which has created clouds, inner clouds, outer clouds, not allowing the permanently available rays of divine light to enter and shine, in fact, in our body with physical health, in our mind with mental health, in our heart with emotional health, and ultimately, last but not least, in our whole consciousness with spiritual awakening. And in fact, what Paramahansa Yogananda insists in many of his talks, in many of his writings, in his lectures since the early times in America, is that no matter how long we've been confined, either in thoughts or emotions or physical states of obscurancy, it is possible to have the light of God shining again in a new given physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. And it is really my joy to share with you now what he suggests us to do, because he gave very specific methods, very precise and appropriate and peculiar healing techniques. To do what? He explains that, in fact, each thought of depression or happiness, or each thought of irritability or calmness, cuts subtle grooves in our brain cells, strengthening the tendency towards disease or well-being. And again, we talk about physical, mental, emotional, spiritual levels of disease and well-being. And he says, in fact, that behind each chronicle, physical or mental or emotional disease, there are deep hidden roots which lie in the subconscious mind. And healing comes when we are able to unlodge, to take out those hidden roots. And he explains how. But before going there to see how, the most hopeful news that he gives in one of his most inspiring writings in the Precepta is that no matter how long in a history of the evolution of our consciousness we've been wrapped in some dark cloud, either in our body or mind or heart or consciousness, the light of the soul is never touched. And it is always possible to allow it to shine again, if only we allow the light of God to enter and start to reopen the doors of our consciousness for our inner light, which is His presence within us, to shine again. Because He says, like darkness cannot remain when the light comes in, even in a cave where for thousands of years darkness has been, so also the darkness of disease cannot stay when the light of the perfect presence of God enters in our body. So now we have two wonderful statements. One, that healing comes by taking out, removing, unlodging the hidden roots formed within ourselves by, he says, thoughts or actions or emotions which create a blueprint. And these thoughts, whatever thought we perform, whatever thought we happen to have, whatever action we do, whatever emotion we happen to manifest within us, creates a blueprint. And both the action, emotion, or thought and its blueprint, they create, he says, grooves in our brain cells. And these grooves, alas, manifest a magnetism, which unfortunately keeps on attracting our attention and forces us unknowingly to us, unconsciously but very strongly, to repeat those very same actions, to repeat those very same thoughts, to repeat the experience of those very same emotions which have disturbed us perhaps for centuries, or perhaps for hundreds of incarnations in millennia. So, those roots, how to bring the light of God again in. So now we are going to work together, applying those two precise methods that he gives to dislodge those roots, those grooves, like he says, bringing acid in a record and destroying, burning, cauterizing those grooves in our brain cells. And then after that, the method to bring the light in and allowing whatever form of known or unknown darkness within us to go away because of the entering of the light of God. The method he blesses us with to remove these grooves in our brain cells caused by past actions, past thoughts, past emotions, past ignorance, known or unknown to us. And not only brought in by ourselves, by action performed by us, or thoughts made by us, or emotion experienced by us, life or this one, not only made, performed, experienced by us, but inherited. And we go further now. States of disturbances might be created not only by grooves in our brain cells from actions of our own source, but also we inherit grooves, Yogananda says, from consciousnesses of our parents, actions of our parents, the famous heredity in our DNA. But we go even further. He talks about grooves coming, influences coming from the historical moment we take an incarnation. The karma of the nation in which we are born. Beyond our own personal karma and the family karma in which we are born. So you realize it's a vast matter. It seems hopeless, and instead Yogananda comes to say, the hope is there, and we are going to practice the materialization of this hope. So this wonderful, fantastic method. The words he uses are pretty strong. I'm repeating by heart what he says, so don't be too surprised. They look like a little prosaic, a little unspiritual, almost unthinkable, but truly he says there is no way to come out of all this complex contest of all these heredity from our lifetimes and those of our families and nation and history, but through strong concentration, meditation, strong willpower, strong determination, and strong faith. So as he uses the word strong in a pretty strong manner and many strong times, I tell you he will use strong words as well. And I'm going to repeat them. So the first crucial aspect of healing is self-analysis. We need to be aware. How is it going in our life that I'm not feeling well? Not feeling well physically or mentally or emotionally. What is it happening within me? Self-analysis and introspection. It says attentive self-analysis and deep attentive introspection. Once we understand what is going on, at least apparently, we can start the work. But then the second, so first self-analysis, introspection, but then the second element is meditation. Meditation is a tool that in fact not many people know, alas. And they keep on thinking that they can get rid of deep patterns disturbing them by the normal, usual way of dealing with our mind, which is the level of the conscious mind, which is the level at which more or less we talk all the time, which is the level, in fact, of analyzing, discussing, more or less trying to find a reasonable solution, but it has not helped us so much. Not enough, otherwise we wouldn't be here talking about some other metaphysical methods beyond the physics of the normal conscious mind. So meditation. Meditation for Yogananda is the first tool. Why? He gives a very specific metaphysical anatomic explanation of what is the effect of meditation, precisely there in our brain, where those grooves, which are the cause of our misery, are lodged. And he says that during meditation, the mind gets interiorized and withdraws the life force from muscles and nerves and concentrates it, the mind interiorized, concentrates the life force in the brain cells, where, he says, these are precisely his words, where the evil habits are grooved. The life force concentrated in the brain cells, he says, has the intelligence to define, to see where those grooves which cause our misery are lodged, what are they, where they are, and has the power to burn them out. He uses strong words. He uses the word cauterizing them. He uses the words electrocuting to ashes. These are strong words. But because it's a strong, long history we come from. And these things are very much strongly rooted there. And we unknowingly are very much strongly attached to them, alas. So meditation is the first tool, the first action after introspection and self-analysis, right? Because the life force gets so much concentrated in the brain cell that even if we don't know what those groups are, even if we don't know where those issues are, what is the name of those issues really? Because with our conscious mind, we can get only to a certain point of definition of our problems. But that life force is the presence of God within us. is, Yogananda says, the divine cosmic consciousness permanently there, immanent and within the creation and beyond the creation, which once enters in our body to give us life, is called life force. But it has the same powers of omniscience and omnipotence. So, first step, meditation. And I really hope you all know how to meditate. Otherwise, in our Ananda online courses, we have many videos of how to meditate, even of a few minutes, free in YouTube. So I encourage you with all the possible strengths of my mind, heart, and soul, learn to meditate. And then, once, he says, you are in meditation, you say, Lord, thou and I are one. And try to feel a great peace and a great joy in your heart, Yogananda says. And then he says, when you feel that joy strongly, then you say, and here the strong words come, Father, thou art with me. I command thy power within me to cauterize my brain cells of wrong habits and past seed tendencies. And then he adds, the power of God in meditation will do it. And then he says, affirm afterward. I command my brain cells to change, to destroy the grooves of bad habits that have made a puppet out of me. Lord, bend them up in thy divine light. This method, you can see, comes from meditation, is done during meditation, right? Because we need to interiorize our mind and detach the life force from the physical body, concentrated in our brain cells and start the work. And then the second thing he does is affirming our unity with God. So Yogananda healing methods are never egoical techniques. He knows that the power comes only and exclusively and forever only from its unique source, which is God. And why he insists in saying, Father, thou and I are one? Because it is by affirming that unity that you reclaim his creative power as yours. Because any form of dissolution, distraction, burning, cauterization, electrocuting that we do is a form of creation. How can we do it? With a creativity which comes only from a mind always only either contracted or in any case circulating around our ego. It has to be at a level of deep union with God that we can use his creative power to destroy what we in our history have created. So I and my Father are one, Lord, thou and I are one. And then he commands his power within us to destroy those grooves. And what he says, cauterize my brain cells, where the grooves are, of wrong habits and past seed tendencies. In wrong habits there are all the attitudes of thinking, attitudes of behaving, attitudes of talking, attitudes of moving in life that we have built in incarnations after incarnation after incarnations. Habits. Then he says, wrong past seed tendencies. So we are asking, actually, he uses the word command. We are strongly reclaiming from God that he cauterizes, means burning to ashes, the seeds, so he goes at the origin of past tendencies. All these are the sources of our disturbances. And then what he does? Because always, Master used to say that the 50% of our liberation from whatsoever delusion we are comes from God, the 25% comes from the Guru, but the 25% comes from our own help. And he says, nobody will save you but yourself in connection with God. So that's why in the second part of this extraordinarily powerful method, he says, then you affirm, Father, thou art with me. I command my brain cells to change. So Yogananda asks us to put in action our own free will, our own decision, our own commitment, our own energy to destroy those brain cells, which have made a puppet out of us. Puppet. He uses the word puppet because this is what Maya does, makes us puppets. But Maya is not something there moving like that with a strange robe here and there. It is our own creation because of ignorance. So you see, it is from a state of meditation and of deep collaboration with God and of deep application of our own willpower that we have the hope for sure to destroy these sources perennially activated one incarnation after the other of disease at different levels. At different levels. What are we touching when we are commanding through God the cauterization of our brain cells of wrong habits and passive tendencies? And what are we touching when we say we're strong? I command my brain cells to change. What are we touching? The subconscious mind. Paramahansa Yogananda explains that all the actions, tendencies, thoughts, emotions, atrocious fears of all our past lives are lodged in our subconscious mind. So all those grooves are there. And through such a powerful method, which is a pure application of what Swami Kriyananda defines as the foundation of Paramahansa Yogananda's spiritual philosophy, means the statement that the stronger the will, the stronger the flow of energy. Well, this method, which is a pure application of this fundamental statement and foundation of Yogananda's teachings, through that we are able to go in the subconscious mind and destroy at the origin our misery. At the beginning of our beautiful evening together, we said that Paramahansa Yogananda explains that in the grooves in the brain cells are the sources, the grooves of the brain cells caused by our actions, emotions, habits, are the causes then, are the blueprint, are the beginning, the sources of all the mechanism of our unhappiness, diseases, disturbances. But then what did we say? We said that he explains that light, once it enters in whatever cave, even though it's been there for millennia, like our subconscious mind, it shines. And he says the same happens for the darkness of disease. It disappears once you allow the light of the perfect presence of God to enter in your body. So now, in fact, fact, we are going to discover and apply together this magnificent method that our beloved Guru calls the Superconscious healing technique, meant to bring the light in and make it shine in our brain, to blow away darkness by the only fact that the light enters. Again, no escape from meditation. He says, in deep meditation, gather all your energy and focus it at the point between the eyebrows, which is the site of the superconsciousness. Transform that energy into a laser beam of blazing light, and first shine it on your brain, instantly destroying negative mental thoughts, negative mental habits. Then shine mentally that light throughout all your body, and specifically where there is a disease, and see it instantly burning the diseased cells and replace them with healthy cells. The superconscious healing method entails deep meditation and entails bringing in the light. How? Not from some strange idea of light who knows where, but just seeing that all our energy is that light. Because in fact, our energy is exclusively the light of God, because it is nothing else, as we said before, as Master insists in so many of his talks and writings, is nothing else but the presence within us of the divine cosmic consciousness, one of which attributes and one of which ways of presenting, of being visible, is light. One of the ways we can experience that divine cosmic consciousness is light. And he says, he invites us to see our own force, our own energy transform into light, and starts to use it. He starts to use the light as the presence of God with all the power of creation of God to heal ourselves. To heal ourselves. By using it in a focused way. You know, if we use a big lamp, the sun, with the sun is there, we cannot perform much. But if we put one of those magnifying lenses and we allow the sun to become that little ray, with that we can cut papers. Now the surgeries with a focused laser beam of light. So once again, he invites our concentration. As we said at the beginning, meditation and concentration, the two fundamental tools of healing, as explained by Master. So in deep meditation, gather all your energy at the spiritual eye and transform that energy into a laser beam of blazing light and shine it first on your brain, he says. Why? Because in the brain, we saw, are the grooves of those wrong habits, of negative mental thoughts, of negative mental habits that are at the origin of our disturbances, are at the origin of our unhappiness, are at the origin of our ill state, physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual. Shine it on your brain. And then he said, instantly burning. It doesn't say, and figure out that it is instantly, the imagine, instantly burning those groups. So what do we have to use? Concentration and willpower. Meditation, concentration, and willpower, because we need to will to do all this in order for that light to operate, for that very principle that we said Swamiji Kriyananda explained being the basic of all his philosophy, of all Yogananda's philosophy. The stronger the will, the stronger the flow of energy. In this case, the stronger the will, the stronger the power and the activity of that laser beam of blazing light, which is energy, which is the presence of God with all its power. And then he said, shine it throughout your body. And here I would like to call your attention to realize that both the command method to destroy, cauterize the grooves that we have seen together before, and this method, we have to realize that it can go very deep. And really, I would like to call your attention now on this crucial aspect, which I have seen helped many people to finally be free from griefs, sorrows, physical states they were unable to address in any possible way, even for years. So, when he says, shine it throughout your body, or when in the other method he says, I command thy power within me to cauterize my brain cells of wrong habits and past seed tendencies. In that word past, and herein throughout your body shine the light, what does it include? It includes states of consciousness which can be lodged not only in physical points because of a physical issue or a clearly understandable mental issue, but it talks also about the center of our emotions, which is the heart, which is the place where sorrows grow, where sorrows remain, where sorrows take place and seemingly never leave us, if this is our case. It's the place where griefs are. It's the place where griefs that we have not been able yet to resolve are living. So when he says, shine that light throughout your body, if now, dear friends, we are having a specific grief, because maybe we have lost someone so dear to us, or because someone has betrayed us, or because an entire situation has fallen apart, this is the place where we want to shine that light through this superconscious healing method. Because we are shining there, the light of superconsciousness coming from our spiritual eye, which is the presence of God within us. We are shining His power, but not only His power of destruction, of burning away pain and sorrows. We are shining there His love. We are shining there His love. We are shining there His longing to see us out of suffering. You can question and ask why He didn't do it before. You didn't call Him. Here we are talking about methods which see our direct, willing, conscious, determined participation. Methods which are seeing our willing, conscious, determined participation into calling the light of God within us. When we shine it in our heart, something more happens. And when we shine it in our mind, something more happens. Because, and this is the other gem that he gives us, he explains that that light has an infinite power of projection. When we go in depth in understanding what he means with that, we are healed. If it is true that that light has an infinite power of projection, I can send that light within my brain, within my mind, and within my heart, but not only at where I think the issue is. My brother died, my father died. I lost all my belongings because I've been betrayed by a person, a group. I send that light at the origin of the karma put in action by myself, which has called for these very situations on which I'm grieving now. So I can send that light to the place in time and place in space where the whole issue started. Because it is always a history of learning. All this happened only to reawaken us to God, one test after the other. So I'm burning karma through these marvelous methods. In deep gratitude for Master to say, this light has an infinite power of projection. This energy with which you are working, the power of God in the command method, has an infinite power of projection. We can go even farther. Not only in our history, I can touch my whole genealogical tree. The genealogical tree of all my family, if it is true that I'm also inheriting things from them, habits, wrong habits, passive tendencies, wrong thoughts, negative mental habits, negative mental thoughts. I can send this light to my genealogical tree, visualizing it, because it's all in my DNA. So I'm visualizing it within my system, within my brain. And it can be an emotional genealogical tree. How many families experience the same emotional states, one generation after the other? How many? So when I send that light to my heart, I can willingly send it to the emotional history of my genealogical tree. Do you realize the marvel of such a method? Only an avatar can give such an extraordinary diamond of possibilities of healing. And then, yes, of course, we can send it to the physical place where perhaps we are having an issue, but literally seeing it burning the disease cells and replacing with new healthy cells. But remember, he says, meditation is needed, strong concentration and will. Let's just close our eyes for a moment, because I would like to take you through this experience. If you feel inclined, so of course, only then. Please kindly close your eyes, sit with your spine straight, your chin parallel to the floor. Your legs are not crossed. Your hands are up with the palms up on your thighs. Kindly breathe. Breathe deeply at your own rhythm. Pause as much as you want. And exhale. Again. Inhale as deep as you can. Pause as long as you want. And exhale with ease, deeply. Again. And now, try to gather all your energy at the point between the eyebrows. And if you don't understand what it means, at least be willing to do that. Ask God to help you to do that. Gather it there at the point between the eyebrows. And transform it. See it transforming into a laser beam of blazing light. See a big light coming from your spiritual light and shine it on your brain. Shine it on your brain now. And see this light going precisely in those areas, in those cells of your brain where whatever issue only you know is clouding the light within you, is clouding your peace of mind, is clouding, obscuring the serenity of your heart, or is making it impossible for your body to be healthy. See that light in its divine intelligence reaching the origin in your brain cells, those grooves at the origin of these ailments, and see it getting there and instantly burning those grooves at the origin. Have the complete unshakable faith that that light knows what to do and has the power to do it, and will do it accordingly to your will and your union after. Now we exemplified with 3 breaths, but after a meditation you are one with God. And then now shine that light to your heart. Visualize that you are shining your light, this light towards your heart. Fill it with that light now. And if you are incapable to see that that light is there, filling your heart, ask God, open my heart to thy presence of light. Yogananda says, the power of God in meditation will do it. So when you will do tonight, tomorrow, when you will feel a deep meditation, then you will have that capacity of connecting in a deep prayer to God. Open my heart to thy presence of light. And see this light starting to wrap your heart and starting to infuse itself within the tissue of your heart, the outer tissue, and then deeper and deeper tissues. And asking, go deeper, go deeper. You ask that light, Lord, go deeper, deeper. Touch me at the root of my grief, of my sorrow. And dissolve that with thy power. Heal me. Go deeper, heal me, go deeper, heal me. Go deeper, as long as far and as deep as you know you have to go. Make me receptive. Open myself, open my heart to thee and go deeper. He will do it. He will do it. He will do it. He wants only to do that, but he needed to be called. Then shine it over organs where you know you have issues. If there is anger, shine it over your liver. If you have fear, shine it over your kidneys. If you have terrible problems of rigidity, shine it at the roots, at the bottom of your being. Shine it there. Shine it there. and see it burning either disease cells or burning the consciousness, dissolving the consciousness which is behind the issues that only you know. And even if you can define only somehow that issue and you cannot go further, he knows how to go further if you allow him, by telling him, go deep, go at the root, resolve it. Now you can reopen your eyes. And I would like to read you a beautiful phrase of Master, which he wrote in his Precepta in 1938. He said, the healing light of God has been shining within me and around me, but I kept the eyes of my inner perceptions closed, so that I beheld not his transmuting light. Transmuting light. I will plunge the gaze of my faith. I will plunge the gaze of my faith through the window of the spiritual eye and baptize my body in the healing light of Christ consciousness, which is Krishna consciousness, which is God consciousness. Baptize it. What is the baptism? Is renewing completely our history. Because I am bathing myself with the light of God, not differently than when all the people of Galilee were going in the Jordan and Jesus had his feet in the Jordan. And the healing vibrations of the divine consciousness permanently breathing within him were imbuing the Jordan and reaching the consciousness of those who with faith and will to be healed to a new life used to go. This is what we are doing when we are calling and allowing and working with that light. We are baptizing ourselves to a new healthy life at every level. These are very deep teachings. He defines them super advanced. But with our deep willing to truly give a shift to our life, to truly say, Abibas, now end of the story of my long journey of suffering. We advance quickly. We are in fact always ready for an advanced healing practice once we get to the point of saying, I cannot do it alone. I cannot possibly do it alone. When God comes and forcibly opens our hearts with sorrows and griefs and pain, there is no other way to heal that wound by allowing his hands of light to come and touch us. And these methods are doing nothing but that. They are allowing the healing hands of God through his light called by us to come and touch us and heal us at the root. In the command method, don't think that you have to repeat like a parrot, those words. If you have a serious issue, like, for instance, fear, or even smoking, just to tell you, but at that point you say, Lord, cauterize my habit of smoke, cauterize my brain cells where the habit of smoking is lodged. Cauterize my brain cells where the habit of fear is lodged. So you see, it's not that you have to say precisely, I command thy power within me to cauterize my brain cells of wrong habits and passive tendencies. If you know that the tendency is fear, if you know that the wrong habit is fear, say clearly, Lord, cauterize my brain cells of fear. Means the brain cells where the fear is grooved. You see? And when we go to the second part of that command method, it's not that you have to say precisely, I command my brain cells to change. You can say, I command my brain cells of smoking, my brain cells of fear to change. You see, so modified accordingly to what is the precise issue. But knowing by heart what is the procedure, kindly send your email addresses at the end of the class. I will send you all the material, all what we talked about. I will send you everything so that you can see word by word, which I've been repeating by heart, but you cannot possibly remember through this hour together. Kindly send it. I think there is some email address there where you can send it. Do it. Now, in these last 5 minutes, I would like, in fact, to touch one of the most classical topics of unfortunate sources of disturbances ultimately becoming disease. And that topic is fear. Yogananda wrote at length about it, how to overcome it. Use those 2 methods for it, and then use these 3 other methods that I'm about to give you. They are very specific and not difficult. The first of all is he says, when you feel fear coming, start to breathe. Breathe deeply, at length, slowly. As long as needed. If that is not enough, he says, do what he calls the most powerful relaxation method that you can ever find. This is how he defines it. There is not a more powerful method than this one that I'm about to tell. Again, if the deep breathing was not enough, you double breathe with all your strength, tense in all your body the way that I'm about to show you. And while you tense all your muscles, all your body in your double inhalation, with that tension, tense also your fear. And then remain in that tension for a moment like this. You see, I'm tense, no? I'm tensing myself. I'm tensing that fear. I'm tensing, then you can do it with other emotions. But in this case, tense that fear together with your muscles. And then release. And he says, do who. I know it makes you laugh. I know it looks ridiculous. Nothing is ridiculous here. So, you see, release it. Do it 3, 5, 8 times. Try to stay in that tension for 20 counts if you can. But don't be aware of your history. If you are hard patients, please just have the normal discernment. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Right? So vibrate, and with that tension, vibrate and tense that fear, because it's like if you are awakening it from the hypnosis in which you fell. Hypnosis. These are conditions which are not ourselves, are not ourselves. The soul is forever shining. These are only clothes that the long history of ignorance, which has taken us until now, has been wearing. Nothing else. Shake it away. And then, and I'm happy to close with that, there is a beautiful, beautiful method. Your right hand, your heart, just from left to right, strongly, decision, rub your chest like this and say, I am Father, I am free. Tune out this fear from my heart's radio. Precisely like when, with a radio, you want to be free from the frequency that you're not interested into. Tune out of your consciousness the frequency of fear. So, you see, your heart, your right hand, like this. But vigorously. And then you say, Father, I am free. And this is the power of a strong affirmation. We will go through affirmations next Tuesday. You will see there will be a whole new world which will reveal to us with affirmations, supreme method of healing. If done the ways that Yogananda says, means in contests of meditations and contact with God. So, Father, I am free. Tune out from my heart. Tune out this fear from my heart's radio. Fantastic method. Fantastic method. So, dear friends, we have touched deep levels of realities, but they are all doable. And truly, when we start to ask God to help us in this, we start to open what Yogananda says, the closed windows of our consciousness, which we have kept closed for who knows how long, but on which the perfect light of God, of perfect physical health, mental health, emotional health, and spiritual health, was forever shining. So when we start to operate with these wonderful healing methods given by such an avatar, we start to open those windows. He was always waiting to come in. But you remember what we read? We kept it closed, we didn't know, we forgot. So our process of remembering starts again. And a magnificent new life is given a chance to baptize us in the light and joy of God. God bless you all, dear friends. It will be a great joy to see you next Tuesday. We will explore new wonderful worlds through the scientific healing affirmations of our marvelous